Now today we're going to be posing another question. Earlier in the week when the Economy 2.0 patch first came out, I posed the question, is it too hard? I got some feedback, got some likes, some dislikes, a bunch of comments. I'm going to pose a different question in this video. Is it fun for new players? That's one of the key things with a game. Anytime you create a game, the key is it fun? And if you want the game to be successful, is it fun for new players? Does it encourage people to come in and play your game? So I'm going to look at some of the game mechanics, some of the things I have experienced, and try to answer the question, is it fun for new players? This is Resilan Bearcat, and welcome to City Skylines 2. Now, I'm going to try to do this in a pros and a cons kind of a style here, and this is my thoughts and opinions. I'm going to enjoy seeing your comments and your thoughts and opinions on this because, I think mileage will vary. Different people will have different, opinions on all of this. So let's look at the is it fun. As we follow our garbage truck around our city a little bit, we can zoom out and we can see we're over here, on the west side of the city. And you can see my sprawling city here, 9,300 people. I have reached milestone 8 in Big Town in this game. And this was a game that I started brand new in 2.0. And I've been playing for some time now. So we're just going to let this go. Speed up time a little bit here and just kind of follow the garbage truck around a little bit as we talk about this and kind of get a tour of the city. So what we have here is from a pro standpoint. I'm going to start with the positives. Number one is it does have a challenge to the game, which was missing before. As you come into this, and that kind of goes back to the is a game fun? And for a game to be fun, it does need a challenge. Something that actually makes you have a chance to fail. This is my second playthrough. I've made it to level 8. This city has a couple of serious issues that I to try to address, but overall the game is challenging. My first city that I tried, I went bankrupt at level 4. The second city, I've made it to level 8, but I now have a couple of severe problems in the city. I do know why those problems occurred, but I do like the fact that there's a challenge to it. You can't just build just expand it, build fast as you want to, and do anything you want to do. There are consequences to your decisions, and sometimes those consequences are negative, when you make the wrong decision. That kind of brings me to my second point, which is, from a pro standpoint, is decisions have weight. Decisions have a consequence. If you expand too fast and overload your city services, that's actually the main problem with my city right now is my garbage collection can't keep up, and I don't have the money or the funds to fix the problem. And the other thing is, it does feel good to have your decisions have a consequence. If I change my tax rates, on certain buildings, then they don't move in. I can come into my taxes here. I can set my taxes, in here for various different services, and I can keep them from moving into my city. And the different things. I can come into my services and I can change the percentages on things, and they don't work as well. So it does feel good to have your decisions have consequence. Adding a service too soon can cause your economy to go in in your budget to go to take a big negative hit and be a problem for you. So that's actually good. And number 3, I have to say one of the pros is the pace of the first 4 levels feels pretty good. You're not just flying through it anymore. You have to slow down a little bit from what you did before. So the pace feels a little bit better for the first 4 levels than what it did before. Before you had so much money, you could just blow through by placing big expensive buildings and just blow through the first 4 levels without really understanding the mechanics of how the game works. So I do like the pace of the first 4 levels being slower. Feels good from a new player perspective, new to the game, feels like you're taking time to learn it. I actually liked the fact, now it may be odd, I liked the fact that I failed the first game. The second game, I've got myself in trouble. Now, I believe I could dig my way out of this particular game, but as a case in point, I would have to dig myself out. We're going to follow Selena O'Reilly here for a little while. She is transporting something. I would have no idea what she's transporting. She has the dog. She's transporting the dog. Maybe she's going to a dog park. Nope, she was going home. So I'll tell you what, let's see where she's going. Let's follow her a bit. Her and her dog. So we'll see where they're kind of going. So The next thing, so that's kind of the pros. That's the good part of this. I do like some of the different things that they've added into the game. With the different stuff, they've done a good job on a number of pieces in this game. With the new choices that they've put in, and things are actually really good. On the negative side, though, on the cons, let's talk about some of the cons. Number one of the things they wanted to do in this game was make things more visible. They wanted to actually increase the transparency. And they did do that in a way. If I zoom out here, let's zoom out of here and go into the high school as an example. And we'll just use this as an example since it's close. I can come into this and I can see all of the cost of the high school. I can see the maintenance for the sports field, the maintenance for the high school. I can see the wages. I can see the total. We can see some efficiency and some other things, how many employees there are, what the attractiveness is. There is better information here. However, the information here is not available to you at the point in time that you need it. If I look at adding some of the different things, if I look at adding the school library, I can see it's going to cost me $85,000 to place it, and upkeep is $10,000 a month. If I look at the sports field here, I can see that the sports field is $56,000 to place it, and it's $7,500 a month upkeep. But let's look. I've actually placed the sports field. So let's take this out of here. Let's go over here, look at our sports field for a second. If we zoom in on that and look at it, right? Wait a minute. $7,500 a month maintenance, $117,000 a month total. By the time I placed the field and realized that it cost me more than 10 times what it stated it cost me, I've already spent the money for the field, both to place it, and now it's taken a big hit on my budget. So they need to, this isn't negative. They wanted to increase the transparency, but they didn't increase the transparency in a place where it does you any good. The other place where it doesn't do any good is over here. If you look at your unlocks, if I come in here and I want to come into schools and unlock a college, it doesn't show me what it costs to place a college. It doesn't show me what the maintenance cost for the college would be. I need that information on this screen. The information's available. It needs to be displayed here for the end user. So that's going to be a negative because the information, while they added information, they did not add it in a place where it actually does you any good. The second thing, so hidden cost. Number one, that's a con. The second negative is the scale and cost of services. So I'm going to come out to make my point on this. When you first start a town, you've got a very small town, you place the very first service you're going to place is your cemetery. The cemetery costs you $114,000 to place it. It tells you it's going to cost $27,500 a month. It actually costs $59,600 a month. It has some bonuses here. And when you look at this, when you first start out, that is a big hit on your monthly budget. And turning the slider down to 50% just makes it so ineffective that it nearly is better just not to have it there. And with some of the services like medical facility, it is better to not have it there. So this is just one of the things. I still go back to a negative. We need some things in here. We need some scaled down services in the first few levels. The scale of the services in the first few levels don't really match with what a small town would be. We need a doctor's office, for example. We need a small cemetery and a large cemetery, with the small one having less capacity, but much greatly reduced cost. The third thing, the third con that I have here is tile maintenance. Now on this particular map, let's zoom out for a second. You'll notice if I zoom out that I've added 4 tiles. We start with 9. I've added 4 more to expand my city. And if we look at my monthly budget here, the wrong button, monthly budget, we go to services cost, or actually let's just look at the budget cost. I'm paying $82,000, roughly $20,000 per tile. This is on a vanilla map. This is a lot worse on a lot of the custom maps because it's based on the resources that are in the tile. So, when you look at some of this, the tile maintenance or the tile upkeep is a gimmicky thing. Doesn't make sense logically, and in the beginning of the game, it really restricts the cost of the tiles already restrict your ability to expand. The cost of the maintenance puts further downward pressure on your budget. I have to say that's a negative as well. It doesn't feel good as a new player. You really start having to cram everything into your starting tiles because you don't feel like you can afford to expand your city out here to grab the rail or to do other things that you might want to do. And then the fourth point that I want to make, which while I felt the pace of the first 4 levels, levels 1 through 4, were really good, level 5, level 4 through 8 has not been good. And so that's one of the things that we'll do while this is going on. We'll go check on the ambulance and follow the ambulance down to the resident down here for Ember Kensington. The pace of play for the second 4 tiers it ran into an issue. And on this particular thing, it ran into an issue for a very specific reason. The starting funds that they give you, plus the bonus they give you for each progression level, has been turned down. And in fact, the bonuses, the rewards they give you for each progression level has been massively nerfed. And it is a much smaller number. It does add pressure to make it feel like you've got a whole bunch of a consequence to your decisions. You have to be careful about what you do. But on the negative side of this, when you got into by the time you make it to level 3, your initial funds have run out. So by the time, anything you're going to add to the game after level 3 is going to have to be through money that you've made with your budget. And making lots of money in those early games is very slow. Each month, you may, maybe you've got a positive budget like I did for much of this particular game. By the time I did 4, 5, 6 things, I had a whole bunch of, budgets and different things that are in there. I had a positive balance every month, but it went down time after time after time. And with that, even though I was positive, if you're making $50,000 a month, if you need to save up $500,000, it's actually going to take you in game. It's going to literally take you 200 minutes, 3 hours of game time in order to earn $500,000 if you've got a positive balance of $50,000 a month. And that's just because the highest speed in the game, the fastest speed in the game, takes 20 minutes to play a month, or roughly 20 minutes to play a month. So at the pace after level 4 really does seem too slow, mainly because you don't have a faster simulation speed, not because the pace of the game is too much, but I feel the game really needs a faster simulation speed. So that's my thoughts. To draw this to a conclusion, is it fun? It is more fun than it was, at least to me. It is more fun. The Economy 2.0 patch has made the game more fun. However, if you're asking the question, is it fun for a new player, has never played the game, might not know a lot about the game, I'm not sure I'm necessarily qualified to answer that question. But in my opinion, I don't think that they've hit the mark the way they need to. They've improved it, but I think there are some specific things that they need to do. And I don't think they're huge cost things that they need in order to be able to address that. I think some of those things are show the total cost, when you're actually playing, when you're unlocking things in the progression chart, show the total cost when you're going to place a building, or at least show an estimate of what the total cost is going to be. Remove the tile maintenance cost. I don't think they add anything to the gameplay. There's just an artificial dampener on progression. Allow the player to set their initial funds. This would be pretty simple. Let me choose between 500,000 and several million. 5 million as an example. If you had a slider where I could slide that, I could make the game more difficult or less difficult just by the starting funds I have. That would be a fairly minor change to the game that would have a major impact for new players. Instead of the unlimited money, which feels like a cheat, and I don't like playing that way, you could just say, look, I start with a more generous initial funds. That way I can make a few mistakes and not have to feel like I have to start over with a new game. That would be big. Scale the rewards a little bit. Some changes to how the rewards scale, and to scale the rewards based on difficulty level. Now, that might be a little harder to implement, but you could implement a difficulty level and allow the player to choose, hard, medium, easy, or some series of that's masochistic, and scale the rewards based on that. You can even take away the monetary rewards entirely, for the most difficult level that's out there. And then the other thing that you have is just as far as the idea, they really do need some scaled down services for starter cities, small cities. You need a doctor's office, not a medical clinic to start. It needs to be much smaller. You need a small cemetery, like a church. Maybe have a church that contains a small cemetery instead of a large cemetery with a huge cost. And then the last thing, a faster simulation speed, which I've already mentioned. I really do believe the game would benefit from at least having just one more speed that's twice the pace, twice the simulation speed of what we currently have. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. My thoughts of what I think about the Economy 2.0 patch. Please leave a comment in the description, guys. Leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you're a new player. Would love to hear what you think about the difficulty level of this game now that the new economy is in. If you're an experienced player, would love to hear what you think about this, both from the perspective of the new player and from your own gameplay. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, a suggestion, an emoji for engagement. Thanks for watching. Take care. That is all for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel to be notified when new content is available, and check out the links shown here for more gameplay. Take care.